There is a secret to solving any problem in the world. It's called the model. This episode is pure gold. It's my gift to you. Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome to the Immigrant to Millionaire podcast. This is where we study what the wealthiest and most successful people do. Why? Well, because success leaves clues. Not only do we study these successful people, we implement what we learn so that we create the life we want and deserve. My name is Joy Roland, your host. I'm an immigrant that implemented the knowledge I learned from great men and women and became a millionaire in 3 years of arriving in Canada. It's now my mission to share my knowledge with as many people as possible. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea. This is going to be fun. Hello, my lovely friend. Welcome to episode 12 of the Immigrant to Millionaire podcast. I'm so excited that you're here today. I'm so I'm so pumped today. I was just thinking of what happened a few months ago. So my daughter had just turned 3 at the time, and I had started teaching her and talking to her about God, right? And all the concepts are about God. And then one day she came to me and she said to me, Mommy, I want Jesus and the angels to come to my house to play with me. Like she's an only child, right? And like it just melted my heart to just see her innocence, right? Um and I'm like, I thought to myself, wouldn't that just be cool if we could actually have Jesus in our house, right? But then I explained to her, well, Jesus is here, but you just cannot see him with your eyes. And that was a whole new thing. Like she goes, really? I say, yes, he's here. So, but obviously there's no way for a small mind or small brain to understand that. Anyway, just thought to share that with you. Let's dive into today's episode. So, today we're going to be talking about how to solve any problem using the model. Now, before we dive in, I want to read one review for this podcast written by Aussie Girl 12. The title of her review is Excellent, and she says, Joy shares her wisdom, experience, and actionable strategies with her listeners to help them achieve financial freedom. She outlines clearly the steps to make money and build wealth. What an inspiring story and podcast. Oh, thank you so much, Aussie Girl 12. This means a lot to me, and I thoroughly appreciate that you took time out of your busy day to go write me a review. It means a lot to me. Now, my friend, if you haven't left me a written review yet, please head on over to Apple Podcast and write a review for this show. Every week, I will feature one review so I can personally thank you. Okay, let's dive in. How to solve any problem in the world. Yes, in the world. It's called the model. Now, the model is a tool my teacher taught me. Her name is Brooke Castillo, and she's the owner and founder of the Life Coach School, where I train as a life and wealth coach. Now, I paid $23,000 to learn this, so listen up, my friend. This one is pure gold. If you like, grab a pen and paper if you're not driving and just take notes because this will transform your life. Okay, so the model is called CTFAR model. CTFAR, and it has 5 components. The C stands for circumstances. Now, circumstances are factual. Everyone will agree on the facts. No opinions, just the bare facts. Circumstances are outside of our control. Circumstances are neutral. They're just the facts. I'm going to give you some examples. An example is the weather. The weather is a fact, right? So, for example, the weather is 23 degrees centigrade. That's a fact. Everyone can agree that the thermometer read 23 degrees centigrade, right? Second one is traffic. That's just a fact. Cars backed up on the highway, traffic, fact. Another one is other people's behavior, right? That's just a fact. Other people's behavior is a fact. Um, Another one is the laundry, right? Pile of laundry to be done. Just the laundry is a fact. Another example is the number on the scale, right? Let's say 200 pounds on the scale. That number, that's a fact. Um, Another example is the amount of money in your bank account. Just the amount of money in your bank account. So, for example, let's say $15,000. That number in your bank account is a fact. Now, the second component of the model is the T. The T stands for thoughts. So C for circumstances, T stands for thoughts. So what are thoughts? Thoughts are the meaning we give to circumstances. Thoughts are usually subjective. Thoughts cannot be proven in a court of law, and thoughts are optional. Thoughts are the reason for your feelings. So here are examples of thoughts. It's cold outside, right? That's a thought. So if the circumstance was 0 degrees centigrade and your thought was it's cold outside, that's just a thought. You're choosing to think that. Some other person from, let's say, the north of Canada, the Yukon, might say 0 degrees. Oh, that's warm, right? So that's a thought. Another example is I'm going to be late for work. I'm going to look bad because I'll be late for work. That's the thought you have about traffic. When you think the thought, oh, I'm going to be late for work, you are choosing to think that while you're seated in traffic. Some other person in the same traffic could think, oh, I'm so glad I'm in this traffic. I can listen to podcasts. I can catch up on maybe podcasts I haven't listened to. I can have some alone time before I go home to see the kids and put them to bed, make dinner, etc. So you get to choose the thought you think about traffic. So traffic is a circumstance, and you choose to think what you want to think about the traffic. Another one is why can't he help her more? So maybe your husband sleeps a lot. So remember, I said other people's behavior is a circumstance, and then you choose to say, why can't he help her more? Right? You're choosing to think that. Another wife could see her husband sleeping and say, oh, I'm so glad he's catching enough rest. Okay, so you choose your thoughts. Now, maybe you see a pile of laundry, right? The laundry is a circumstance, and then you think the thought, oh, my life is overwhelming. Now, you're choosing to think, my life is overwhelming. Now, you get on the scale, and the scale says 200 pounds. 200 pounds is a fact, right? And then you choose the thought, I am overweight. I will never lose weight, right? That's your thought. You're choosing to think that. You look in your bank account and let's say you see $2,000, right? That's the balance in your debit card, like in your regular checking account. And then you think the thought, I'm irresponsible with money. You are choosing that thought, right? So the amount in the bank account is a circumstance, is a fact, and then you choose, I'm irresponsible with money. Now, some other person in Lagos, Africa, has $2,000 as a balance in his bank account and he's excited, right? So you see how you choose the thoughts you think. Now, the third element of the model is feelings, the F. So remember I said CTFAR. F is the feeling. Feelings are created by your thoughts, not your circumstance. Every single time is the thought you think that creates your feelings. Now, the only thing you really want is to feel good, right? And the only thing you are trying to avoid is to not feel negative feelings. You don't want to feel negative feelings because we're humans. Remember, in the previous episode, I talked about um, the motivational triad of our primitive brain, which is to um, run away from pain, seek pleasure, and to conserve energy as much as possible. Now, I want you to think about this. Your circumstances trigger your thoughts, and then your thoughts create your feelings. So, what's the solution, right? The solution is you get to choose your thoughts. Feelings are just vibrations in your body. There's nothing to be afraid of because many times we tend to run away from our feelings. But when you realize that your thoughts create your feelings, you know you can choose the thoughts that will give you the feeling you want. Now, the fourth component of that model is the A. A stands for actions. Your actions are based on your feelings. And our actions can be actual actions or inaction or reaction. The way you show up. Action is the way you show up in life. And human beings are experts at reading other people's actions or behaviors, right? So I want you to know that circumstances are neutral. You choose the thoughts you think about the circumstance, and then your thoughts create your feelings, and then your feelings create the results you get. So R in the model, which is the last component, stands for results. Your results are driven by your actions. Your results will prove your thought. So when you think something, the results you create will prove what you originally thought. Now, this applies for any result you have in any area of your life, whether that be your finances, your health, your weight, any result in your life happens based on the CTFAR model. Now, you are responsible for your results. You are not responsible for any other person's results. You are responsible for your results. Now, let's put this model into action, right? So I told you circumstances trigger your thoughts, and then your thoughts create your feelings create your actions, and your actions create your results. So, in the example I gave, the weather is the circumstance, is neutral. Now, when you think the thought, it's so cold outside, that thought makes you feel disappointed. So, the feeling is disappointment. And when you feel disappointed, what do? You are more sluggish, you stay inside, and then what results do you create? You feel bad about your day, right? Another example is the traffic. Traffic is the circumstance. When you think the thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late and I'm going to look bad, my boss is going to be upset. What do you feel when you think that thought? You feel frustrated. And when you're frustrated, you're sitting in traffic, what do? You're short tempered and you're just angry at everyone on the road. Now, what results do you create? You actually look bad, right? So, your thought of I'm going to look bad when I'm late, you create that result because that was what you thought. And then your thought created that feeling of frustration. And that frustration led to you being very short tempered. Now, circumstance, my husband didn't clean up, right? So your husband didn't clean up the house, and then you come in the house and you think the thought, why can't he help out more? He doesn't care about me or the children. That's your thought you're thinking at that time. And then when you think that thought, what do? How do you feel? You feel resentful. When you feel resentful, what are your actions? You feel cold, you feel distant, you don't talk to your husband. And then what results does that action create? Husband doesn't want to be around me. So your husband just stays away. So you see how your thought of why can't he help out more actually creates that result for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about the laundry. So you have a pile of laundry to do, and then you think, my life is overwhelming. When you think the thought, my life is overwhelming, what do you feel? Well, you feel overwhelmed and you feel exhausted. When you feel overwhelmed and exhausted, what do? You do nothing, right? You just sit and do nothing. And then when you do nothing, what result do you create? Well, the laundry keeps piling up. So you see how your thoughts of my life is overwhelming actually creates an overwhelming life. Let's go to the example of your weight. You go on the scale, you weigh 200, and then you think, I'll never be able to lose weight. I'm so overweight. When you think the thought, I'm so overweight, I'll never be able to lose weight, what do you feel? You feel unworthy. And when you feel unworthy, you feel sad, what do you do? What actions do you take? Well, you eat chocolate chips. And when you eat chocolate chips, what results do you create? Well, you're going to add more weight. So the thought you thought of, I'll never be able to lose weight, actually helps you to create that result for yourself. Let's look at the bank account example. I have $2,000 in my bank account, right? 2000, let's say you have $2,000 in your bank account, and then you think, I'm irresponsible with money. When you think the thought, I'm irresponsible with money, what feelings do you create? You become worried, you become ashamed. And when you're worried and ashamed, what actions do you take? Well, you don't look at your bank account often. Like you don't even log into your bank account. And when you don't log into your bank account, what results do you create? You have an overdrawn account because you're just going to keep spending without knowing how much you have. So, your circumstances trigger your thoughts. You choose those thoughts. And then the thoughts create your feelings create actions, and then your actions create results. So, how do we change your results? Now, the beauty about this model is you can work from any stage of the model. So, circumstance, thoughts, feelings, action, results. Now, if you want to create $1 million, so you want your income, your yearly income to be $1 million. So, we're going to put that in the results line and then we work backwards. So, you put $1 million in the result line and you say to yourself, what actions do I need to take to create the result of $1 million? So the actions could be, well, I need to start an online business, right? I need to start selling my services online. Okay. So you've determined that that's the action you need to take. Now, then, what feelings do you need to feel in order to take that action? It could be that you need to feel motivated, right? You need to feel motivated to achieve $1 million per year. And then, what thoughts do you need to create? Do you need to think in order to feel motivated? Well, an example could be I can do this, I can be rich. So when you think the thought, I can be rich, I can be wealthy, then you feel motivated. So you see how the model works? It's so powerful, my friend. And I will be referring to this model in future episodes because my goal is to help you create the results you want. So I'll be referring to CTFAR. So you can listen to this episode as many times as you want. Take notes. C for circumstance, T for thoughts, F for feelings, A for actions, and R for results. So here's your homework for this week. I want you to sit down in a very quiet area and analyze your thoughts because your current results have been created by your thoughts. So if you're not earning the amount of money you want to earn per year, that result has been created by specific thoughts. Your assignment is to identify those specific thoughts. I'm happy to look at your assignment. Just shoot me a DM and I can help you. That's all I have for you today, my friend. I'll see you in the next episode. So, my friend, if this podcast encouraged, inspired, or taught you something new, please do me a huge favor by leaving me a review. Just go to Apple Podcast, find the show, go to the main page where you see a list of all of the episodes, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list, and write me a review. This will let me know that all of the hard work I've poured into making this podcast is worth something. I'd also love for you to share this with your friend who could use all of the free value I provide on this podcast. I'll be forever grateful. I believe in good karma, and I know that when you do good things will come back to you 10 times. And lastly, come on over to my Facebook community to get support as you build your empire. This is an exclusive group of high achieving and ambitious people actively working on getting wealthy. Find the link to the group in the show notes, my friend. I hope to see you back here soon. God bless you.